poverty and inequity in society.
So, what is poverty? Poverty is the scarcity or the lack of a certain amount of material possessions, such as food, clothing, home, a land, or money.
Poverty is when you cannot provide a basic living for yourself and or your family. Inequity in society means a lack of justice, which usually happens to poorer people in society.
Who does poverty involve anyways?
Poverty involves anyone living under the poverty line, which changes every few months but currently stands at $426.30 a week for a single adult.
But for a couple with 2 children, it's $895.22.
Did you know that there were 2,990,300 people living below the poverty line in Australia in 2016?
Which is 13.3% of the population. And 731,300 of these people were children. According to research, 17.4% or 1 in 6 children live in poverty.
Yes, but how does it impact them? I mean, how do they live?
Well, for starters, they don't eat properly because, as mentioned earlier, they don't have the money to afford basic necessities. There is not enough food.
Right, and people get sick with illnesses because of poor sanitation and no access to proper clean water.
Oh, so that's not really living then?
They somehow manage to survive, not all though. The suicide toll of poor people is rising every year.
For much of human history, all the world was very poor. The economies of current world powers were nowhere near as large as they are now.
Extensively researching the history of poverty is quite challenging because all over the world, economies fluctuated so often. When speaking about both poverty and inequity in society, we may think about the different groups of people who have experienced a lack of justice and fairness, therefore leading to being impoverished.
Such as African Americans or Indigenous Australians, which represent poverty leading from racist views. In the past, people may have lived in poverty if they weren't considered of high status in society. Today, about 1 billion people are living in poverty, but unfortunately that was roughly the amount of people living in poverty around 200 years ago.
But back then, 4 out of 5 people lived in poverty. Today, 1 in 5 people live in poverty, so it's a pretty good improvement.
What has been done to resolve poverty?
Well, there are multiple organisations like the Salvation Army, Vinnies, the Red Cross, World Vision and Care Australia that work to raise money and provide food, services and shelter to those that are in need.
Can't we help out?
What ideas can we come up with?
Making an organised group in every community that helps with the issue.
Increase the wages?
Access to healthcare.
Fighting poverty takes time. You can't just snap your fingers and just poof.
Janana's right. It takes lots of effort to keep going, but in the end, if we keep up the good stuff, then we may end up with a pretty good result.
Help out the needy wherever you see them or hear of them. Donate to your local organisations.
Contribute to this country's needs.
Ask your school if you may present your ideas on how to raise money for poor people in society.